Thailand. And the next session is a keynote speech on building a regional partnership for common prosperity by Mr. Somchai Sujjapongse, Permanent Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, Thailand. Mr. Somchai received a PhD in economics from the Ohio State University, USA. Before serving as a permanent secretary, he had various significant positions at Ministry of Finance, such as Director General of the Customs Department, Director General of Fiscal Policy Office, and Director General of State Enterprise Policy Office. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Somchai on the stage.
First of all, please accept my apology for wearing this uniform. Every Monday, Thai government officials, we have to wear this kind of uniform. I'm sorry, not wearing the uniform as yours. Dr. Chaiwat Bilbun Sawat, Chairman of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, Kun Kesara Manchusi, President of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, Mr. Mitsuhiro Furusawa, Deputy Managing Director of the IMF, honorable speakers, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to deliver the keynote address at the first International Capital Markets Conference in Thailand. I would like to thank the Stock Exchange of Thailand and the IMF Regional Office for Asia and the Pacific for co-hosting this event and inviting me today. I would also like to extend my warmest welcome to many friends who have made a long journey to Bangkok to join us at this event. Ladies and gentlemen, there has never been a better time than now to look into the future together. At the end of this year, Southeast Asia countries would begin a new chapter with the opening of the Asean Economic Community. The ASEAN Economic Community has a great promise and at the same time faces a number of challenges. The region's greater economic integration could have been a blessing and at the same time could have caused a disruption to the region, especially its capital markets. Accordingly, the inaugural of the International Capital Markets Conference, which brings together policymakers, executives, investors, and academics, will provide us with a platform thought leadership on how we together could make regional capital market that is stronger, safer, and more resilient. Thai capital market has played a crucial role in promoting growth and stability in the Thai economy. In recognizing the importance of the capital market, the current government has established Capital Market Development Committee, or CMDC, a national level committee chaired by Minister of Finance, and the member comprises, for instance, Secretary General of the Stock Exchange Commission, Managing Director of Stock Exchange of Thailand, Governor of the Bank of Thailand, and Chairman of Federation of Thai Capital Market Organizations. The aim of the body is to bring in related parties to draw a long-term development plan for Thai capital market and create a venue to foster, monitor, and steer the development as planned. The master plan shall be completed by the beginning of the coming 2016. The major goals of the master plan is to develop the Thai capital market to be competitive, efficient, and to be engine of growth and wealth distribution. Allow me to highlight some initiatives of the Ministry of Finance and recent developments in regional cooperation in various forums, namely GMS, AEC, and APEC. With regard to the GMS is an emerging economic forces. The economy of 5 countries, including China, account for about 30% of ASEAN and has witnessed strong growth of about 10% per year since 2005. Young generations will enter workforce and will be a large consumer market. Major infrastructure projects would enhance government to government, business to business, and people to people connections. GMS features tremendous diversity in terms of economic development and with unbounded opportunities that present to the people within North ASEAN and beyond. It is not only rich in natural resources, but also dynamic in culture and tourism. In the real sector, intra-GMS trade continues to rise. For example, exports from Thailand to CLMV countries have grown from 4% to 9% of total export during the past decade. This is partly due to the fact that large business corporations within the region no longer operate only within their own territory. They have embraced the openness and expanded their footprint for some time. Consumer and production bases have expanded beyond boundaries. The current government realized the bright opportunities of the GMS region, and in particular, General Prayut Chan-o-cha, Prime Minister of Thailand, proposed 7 action plans for the next decade on the 5th GMS Summit, including: first, to build transport connectivity along the economic corridors by establishing special border economic zones along the border of each country. Second, to develop land and sea transport infrastructure, especially the 2 main railway routes between Aranyapatet, Poipet, and Nong Khai, Vientiane, Kunming. Third, to reduce cross-border customs procedures and time under the cross-border transport agreement. Fourth, to develop energy sources. Fifth, to gather resources for development. Sixth, to increase benefits and encourage the private sector to invest in the region. And seventh, to preserve the environment and manage natural disasters. As proposed by Minister of Finance, Thai government has amended Private Investment in State Undertaking Act, we call it Ppp Act, aiming to encourage private sector participation in delivery of public services and infrastructure projects. The PPP model can improve the efficiency of long-term projects by adopting the private sector expertise and reducing the burden on government budget. This initiative would facilitate infrastructure investment that would eventually promote greater connectivity for the region. Let me now turn your attention to the financial markets in the GMS. In 2014, CLMV's domestic savings of about $50 billion barely meet the need for domestic capital formation. These countries would be distressed financially during the time of turmoil. They may acquire additional funds from external sources, for example, Asian Development Bank and ASEAN Infrastructure Fund, pools together capital from member countries to finance development projects of countries in need. Given a massive amount of capital required for long-term infrastructure development, these few financing sources would not be sufficient. GMS countries have recognized that in order to grow further, they could not afford relying solely on banking system and government investment. Funding sources would have to be more diversified. At the turn of the millennium, Vietnam established its capital market. Soon after, Laos and Cambodia followed the path. Myanmar will later this year commence trading its security market. Ladies and gentlemen, ASEAN has always been in the spotlight. Today, ASEAN is the 7th largest economy in the world, with the GDP of almost $3 trillion. If the current growth trend continues, it could be the fourth largest by year 2050. With 630 million people, ASEAN's potential market is larger than that of European Union and North America. Moreover, ASEAN has the world's third largest labor force behind China and India. ASEAN is one of the most open and market-driven economic regions in the world, with total export over $1.2 trillion, nearly 54% of total ASEAN GDP. Much of the trade relies on partners outside the region. It is worth noting that ASEAN is not as homogeneous as we thought. The great diversity of ASEAN economy at many development stages offers enormous growth potential in the longer term. In order to prepare for the regional integration, Ministry of Finance has prepared 4 strategies in accordance with the main objectives of the AEC, including unified market and production base, enhance ASEAN competitiveness, achieve eco-economic development, and integrate the regional and global economies. These 4 strategies contain 22 measures which aim at making Thailand's entry into the AEC most beneficial to the country. Now, allow me to emphasize on the capital market partnership, in particular, the ASEAN Capital Markets Forum, ACMF, which was established in 2004 under the auspices of the ASEAN finance ministers. The ACMF initially focused on harmonization of rules and regulations before shifting towards more strategic issues to achieve greater integration of the region's capital markets under the AEC Blueprint 2015. I would like to inform you that the ASEAN CIS framework for cross-border offering of collective investment schemes, CIS, is now operational in Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand. This framework allows fund managers operating in a number of jurisdictions to offer CIS constituted and authorized in that jurisdiction to retail investors in other member jurisdictions under a streamlined authorization process. With this framework, qualified fund managers will now have a direct and efficient channel for cross-border distribution of funds in these 3 markets. Recently, Security Commissions Malaysia, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the Securities and Exchange Commission of Thailand, and Singapore Exchange have signed a memorandum of understanding to establish a streamlined review framework for the ASEAN Common Prospectus. The streamlined review framework, an initiative under the ACMF implementation plan endorsed by the ASEAN finance ministers, will enhance ASEAN attractiveness as a fundraising center. Under the framework, issuers planning to offer a listed equity or plain debt securities can now expect a shorter time to market and faster access to capital across signatory countries through a streamlined review process. A concrete example of capital market corporations comes from the bond market. I'm pleased to announce the success of the baht-denominated bond, baht bond, by foreign issuers in Thai capital market. The intention of this baht bond is to develop the domestic bond market by increasing the proportion of foreign issuers and variety of products, and provide the opportunity for domestic investors to invest in a good quality bond. In this way, investors could benefit from diverse sources of investment and lower the risk from foreign exchange investment in foreign bonds, while issuers can diversify their portfolio and lower the foreign exchange risk in Thai baht currency. Laos is the only country among the CLMV to have previously issued a baht bond, raising 9.59 billion baht of sovereign debt from Thailand, whereas EDL Generation Public Company Limited floated bonds worth 6.5 billion baht in Thailand in October 2014. Furthermore, this year, the Lao government will raise funds by issue baht-denominated bonds worth 12 billion baht or $300 million. Also, Minister of Finance will shorten the approval process for foreign bond issuers wanting to issue bonds in Thai baht from 3 times a year to a monthly basis starting January next year. As a result, we hope that CLMV countries will raise more funds through this channel. Now I would like to turn to the APEC Capital Market Corporation. Not only the cooperation of the financial market on the ACMF forum, Thailand also seeks to advance its capital market throughout many channels. Recently, finance ministers from Australia, Japan, Korea, New Zealand, and the Philippines, including Thailand, signed a statement of understanding at the APEC Finance Minister meeting in Cebu, Philippines, on the Asia Region Funds Passport. The Asia Region Funds Passport aims to give investors access to a larger range of well-regulated funds. This will help to further strengthen the international competitiveness of our financial services sector across Asia in relation to other parts of the world. In a nutshell, the Thai government and the Ministry of Finance have seriously undertaken the issue of regional cooperation. We foresee a transformation of the region, especially in the regional capital markets. The transformation will bring great benefits. Nonetheless, there are still challenges to all of us. I strongly believe that the regional partnership in capital market is mandatory for the GMS to achieve a common prosperity. Today, we are honored to have the presence of Nobel laureate, prominent market makers, regulators, opinion leaders, and policy makers from every part of the world to provide thought leadership on key challenges and share their insights from their operating environment. Over the course of these 2 days, we may find we raise more questions than we have answers to. But these conversations will help shape our thinking behind how we can together define and bring about the regional capital market ecosystem that is stronger, safer, and more resilient to support fundraising, investment, and settlement needs to benefit all stakeholders in the capital market. Most importantly, it is the financial market that serves long-term needs of the real economy to flourish and ensure inclusive growth and common prosperity for GMS. I believe that now is the right time for us to co-create abundant opportunities and navigate the challenging environment ahead. This is because together we can achieve more. With that, I thank you for your attention and wish all a fruitful and successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Permanent Secretary to the Ministry of Finance. Please remain on the stage for a photo session, and may I invite 6 more distinguished executives on the stage. Mr. Chaiwat Wibunsawat, Chairman of the Stock Exchange of Thailand. Mr. Mitsuhiro Furusawa, Deputy Director of the International Monetary Fund. Mrs. Ketsara Manchusi, President of the Stock Exchange of Thailand. Mr. John P. Lipsky, former First Deputy Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund. Mr. Odd Perbrek, Director of the IMF Regional Office for Asia and the Pacific. And Mr. Pakorn Pitathawachai, Executive Vice President of the Stock Exchange of Thailand.